The drug is called power. It's on the streets. So that's something that you can actually understand, but the fact that it has this supernatural quality to it, and a great question when you're promoting, like if you had a chance to have superpowers for 5 minutes, what would your superpowers be?
This new thing on the street called power, which has just arrived, which is this pill that allows people to have superpowers, which is, I suppose, a really cool and fun thing, and yet, when you look at it from the point of view of a narcotics detective, could be a really scary thing.
Power is a drug that heightens, who you are innately inside, and once you get the drug in your system, it elevates that.
When Biggie takes the pill, he grows and grows and grows and becomes this real imposing figure. That's all that he always wanted. That's his desire.
Well, I play Detective Frank Shaver, NOPD, and he's he's a narcotics detective, and he's looking into this new thing on the street called power.
In the action movies where you see a girl with a type of professional guy who's good with guns and saving, you don't really see African-American girls be the ones saved or the ones helping that whole process. So I think Robin fits in a very unique position because she is a 16-year-old girl who is not only saved by art sometimes, but she saves art and she saves Frank a lot of the movie. They don't want her around, they push her away, and she's still going. She keeps going. You can't hold her down.
Biggie, to me, is a real fun part to play because it almost feels like driving like a very powerful sports car that goes from 0 to 100 miles an hour in 5 seconds. That's what sort of like happens to Biggie. He goes through a very intense physical and emotional transformation in a very short period of time.
What is great is that they can watch each other's back. They've done it before, so they had their own like system, and it didn't bother you. It was really like, man, they would talk over things. So by the time they got to me, they already had, sort of, whatever decision that they were going to make, they did it with themselves. So it was never any like, no bickering or anything like that. And it's great to have that youth. When you see most directors, if you think about most directors, their best films are their first 3 or 4, you know what I'm saying? So being able to be with these guys when they're, still thirsty for it, hungry to make it right, it was dope. And it was a cool contrast, because Real had this light, yeah, let's do that, yeah, come on. And then Henry would go, we can, but... And so that sort of beautiful tandem sort of kept us in the middle of the road.
It's fun making a relatively big scale action movie with two guys who are pretty firmly grounded in a more sort of artful, creative, short film kind of mentality.
I have not worked with 2 directors before, but working with Henry and Ariel is really interesting. They have a great balance. They dance well together. It's like a dance, and they are often on the same page, but they add different steps to it, but it never feels out of whack.
My first meeting with the directors, Henry and Ariel, it felt like I already knew them for a long time. It was instant connection. They're just really easygoing. We talked a lot about the part, and they seemed to be very open to anything I had to say, and they made me feel very, very comfortable. So it was really a no-brainer.
Dominique, man, is a light. She's gonna be a force. because she was the backbone of this movie. Everything was sort of resting on her, resting on, you know, how she reacted. Even some of the elements, like being in the rain. We had to do this rain sequence where, you know, she was, I mean, almost getting drowned, but to see how her strength and then just, you know, just the acting chops, the rapping chops. She had a lot on her plate, and she cleared it all. And it was the other side of her as well. Like once the cameras were off and we were sitting and she was telling us about her, you know, her spoken word, and we got a chance to watch all of this beautiful raw talent, man. It was like, man, you're gonna be killing it for a long time. And, you know, you see her coming, you know what I'm saying? You see the deuces and everything else that she does. I mean, the deuce, not deuces. But she's on her way, man, to being a serious force in this business. Don't be surprised if you see that lady on stage, that little girl on stage saying, I'd like to thank the Academy.
Dominique brings an energy to the set that nobody else has, and an authenticity to the character. She really researched it. She really spent time with local kids from New Orleans and really tried to nail the subtleties of the dialect, and really trained to be a rapper, and she just brings that every day to the movie. And she's got a real, she and Jamie have a very special chemistry. She and Joe have a different but just as good chemistry, and it's really fun to watch. They're all just like playing off each other, and whenever there's a scene just between Jamie and Dom, or Dom and Joe, like, you know, it's gonna be good.
I think the Machine Gun Kelly scene was probably the one. And at that point, I was running, you know, they wanted me to do this stunt where I just literally got to run through a door. And the guy with the Steadicam is moving backwards. Man, as I'm running, he bumps the door, and as I'm rolling through, the door swings this way, and I catch that thing right there, gack. You know, so it was some real emotions on there, and it took us a minute to really get that whole scene like that, because I think I had to go get checked and everything like that too after that.
There exists a phenomenon called super steam heat, where if steam like comes out of your pores when you're sweating was superheated to such an extent it could spontaneously combust. Movie science, yes, but enough for us to latch onto and build mythology, build close-ups, and then ultimately a 5-minute sequence where Machine Gun Kelly and a stuntman are essentially really on fire in a real location for 5 minutes.
One of the first things we said to Ivan was, why does CG fire always look bad? And why does it look fake? And why can I tell the difference between real fire and CG fire when CG is so sophisticated, you know? And he said, it's very simple, it's lighting. And it's almost impossible to replicate the effect that fire has on an environment, the lighting effect. And it's even harder to do that when the source of that lighting is supposed to be a character in the movie. So that led us to a very elaborate process for shooting Machine Gun Kelly, the Man on Fire.
This isn't like over the top. It's sort of like, it's personal because it's not wearing capes and things like that you normally would see in a like a, you know, a big, you know, superhero film. It seems like you can actually, you know, you can actually touch this. Like when people watch this, they're gonna be like, man, they're gonna be thinking like, I can hear the conversation, what would you be, you know, for 5 minutes? You know, superpower. I can hear the whole family going over, you know, y'all mess around, be the Incredibles.
It's gonna be exhilarating. The action is really creative. There's superpowers in it, but they're unlike any kind of superpowers that you've seen before. It's just a really cool sideways take into that genre. It's Jamie Foxx, who's I think one of our generation's great entertainers.
I think the movie is gonna be way funnier than it is on paper. I think Jamie is a, you know, he's a comedian, so he brings that to art, and Frank is Joe is very fun and warm, but like he brings a edge to Frank that we don't have. So I feel like in some ways he's gonna be edgier than the Art character.
It's a very unusual film. I think it's like it has this really kind of deep, authentic character story at the heart of it, and it also has these totally insane action sequences. And there's a 12-foot man and a burning man and invisible man and all this weird stuff. Yeah.
But it's grounded.
But it's grounded.
But it's an ice cold action picture.
Yeah.
With heart. You got Jamie Foxx at the center of this thing. It's like you can't help but be funny and human.
Hey, it's Lisa. Stay with me for more on TV with 5 anticipated Netflix originals for 2020. F is for Family Season 4, Madam C.J. Walker Season 1, The Devil All the Time, Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt Interactive Special, and The Haunting of Bly Manor. Now, what series are you most excited for in 2020? Now, do you like my t-shirt? You can get one in the link in the description.